What's up, everybody? So yeah, we're right there. There's the camera there if you want to look at it. If not, we're just talking here. What's going on, Dr. Tara?
Ronnie, how are you, Mr. Haskins?
I'm fantastic.
Good.
I've been looking forward to this interview.
Thank you. Me too.
So hopefully some people join us today. If not, you people can watch it later on the replay. But let me tell you who we've got with us today. I know I posted Dr. Tara in a big long introduction, but she has been a therapist in the mental health side for 30 years and also coaching for 10 years. So that was concurrent, right?
Yes. If you start adding all this up, I'd be like 100 years old.
I know. I thought thinking about present. I'm like, is that consecutive?
Yeah, no. And then I was a college professor for 8 years. And then you start adding all this up, and I'd be 100. So no, I did 2 jobs at once, right?
If my best friend ever watches this, Jay or Jeffrey, she's an LSU alum. And grew up in Louisiana. What city did you grow up in?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Okay, cool.
Come on, cool. You know that. Come on.
So yeah, she's from the South, and she's been out here for over 30 years.
10 years. 10 years, and then 10 years, so 20 years total.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So she's a communications coach, guys, and so she's going to be helping. She's in my networking group, so she's helping us with communication issues, whether it be in your relationships, in your business, working with your team. Maybe you're a football coach, whatever. We can all boil it down to communication issues, right?
Yes.
I think mine is what I'm known for most famously is my negative tone when I'm talking to you and trying to make a point and sounding like my dad, right?
That's the word on the street. I have confidentiality. I can't comment on that, but if you say so.
Tone is a thing. So I'm going to put our website in the comments. We'll show the website a little bit later for those of you that like to know more. I actually think we all could be better at communicating.
Yes, of course.
At least have an open mind to it so that you can understand a lot of the problems we're causing our own.
Right.
Because of lack of communication or improper communication.
Correct.
So I'm excited to talk to you today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Tara Alexander, that's another lady.
Yeah.
Tara Alexander. We're going to go through some questions about your entrepreneur journey.
Okay.
And then after this, we'll have some time if you want to ask some questions or if you want to talk about some of the things that are most important to you or something you want to share with them. We'll have time for that as well.
Okay.
And we'll wrap up within an hour.
Sounds good.
Great. So let me pull up my first question so we can get into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's roll.
All right. So tell us how you got started in your business. And I know it's a long one, but take your time and explain it to us. How did you get started in your business?
In the coaching business?
Concurrently.
Well, I run 2 businesses.
Right.
Okay. So I have a therapy business. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So I have a therapy business and I did that for 30 years and I'm still doing that. I have a small therapy business still. And out of that grew my coaching business, which I'm doing now. I've done that for 10 years. So let's talk about the coaching business. That's what I'm here for. And the question was, how did I get started?
How did you get started? Yep.
What I noticed was people were having all these set of problems. And when I took them all together, what they all had in common was communication. The things people kept asking me about over and over was assertiveness, leadership skills, English as a second language. How do I communicate better? Everything all together was about communication, conflict management, crisis management. So we put it all together. It's always back to communication, body language, everything.
Yeah.
It all boils down to we're communicating now, but how
should
we
be sitting like this.
Well, you can, but even how we present ourselves is a form of communication. So I just boiled it down and said, what is this called? Communication coaching. It's a thing.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, great. So when you started that journey, what was it like for you? Like, what were some of the most challenging things you had to overcome when you first started?
People have different versions of this, but to me, you commented on how hard I am on myself.
And yeah, I did recently.
Yes, you did. And I think that my part, and I'm still in the middle of it, the adversity as people call it, I don't want to work through it. I want to be there. I want to just stick the landing. When a gymnast runs and they stick the landing, I'm still like stumbling at the end. So somebody pointed out it's called business development for a reason. So I want to do communication coaching with this group. No. Here, oh, I really like the consulting aspect. I like the teaching aspect. And so I'm still finding my way. And people are saying, well, wait a minute, you said this before, and now you're doing consulting work, and what now you're working with the leaders, but you said you wanted to do that. Because I just want to land and be there, but I'm developing my business.
Figuring out your identity?
Yeah, I think I'm just finding out more about the coaching part of it because I like so many aspects of it. So maybe identity development or business development. And it's frustrating because I just want to be done with that part of it.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, so couldn't you do it all?
Of course I can do it all, but what do they always ask you? Who is your ideal client?
You're talking about networking right now, right?
Right. Well, usually networking. Who's your ideal client? And I'm like, everyone needs help with communication coaching. So, but I see that I really love the consulting side.
Mm-hmm.
I like telling you what to do. I like telling him what to do.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Take some notes on this, Ronnie.
I'm writing.
Yeah. Okay. Here, this consulting is not just telling people what to do. Of course not. It's problem solving. It's working with the leaders. It's figuring it out. It's really getting in there and then helping the team to figure out what's best for them. So it's a type of coaching, but I love that so much. And I love teaching. So people are coming to me saying, can you teach us how to handle difficult clients?
Mm-hmm.
Can you teach us about learning styles? Oh, yeah, I love that. So I guess I'm still figuring it out, and that's hard.
Yeah, I would agree. It took me 5 to 7 years to figure it out. I still figuring it out. I don't know if you ever really, I mean, you can have a target, but I still think you get pulled in different directions, you know, like I said, can you do it all? But like, it's not something I would really advise. I would advise like zeroing in on that target. But you know, that target can get bigger. It can get smaller. It can be more focused.
Yeah.
But I have about follow-up question is like, do you see any synergy with the stuff you're learning and identifying all this with the 30 years of the therapy, you know, offering therapy to people, like the same questions, or is any of this stuff overlap to where you can use those skills that you learned for 30 years in coaching?
So they talk about blue ocean.
Yeah, the Blue Ocean Strategy. It's a great book.
Okay. So blue ocean, where nobody else is yet. And the fact that I am a therapist, 30 years experience, and I am a coach, that's my blue ocean. Because they have communication coaches who are wonderful. They have great ideas, and they have therapists who are amazing, but they don't have anybody who's doing both. So for example, they'll have coaches who say, be direct and be succinct. But there's a reason people are not being direct, and there's a reason people are not being succinct. Maybe they have anxiety or ADHD, or they're dealing with depression.
This is good.
So I understand why people cannot do those very good advice things because they have this other thing, and I can put them both together. So that's my blue ocean. Like, oh, I see how they fit.
You feel like you have an advantage.
I absolutely have an advantage. And so as a communication coach, understanding both of those, I put the pieces together for the people who, it is good advice, be direct.
But you're like, why are you like that? Why have you not been able to be direct?
Right. I can get to the root of the problem rather than just work on the skills. Some coaches are coaching up here. I'm coaching down here.
That's very interesting. I like what you're saying. If you guys are paying attention to this, I think it's awesome because the why is like, I think once you figure out your why, then you can actually do something about it instead of just faking it, right?
Well, instead of building the strategies around it. So somebody, for example, was can I give an example?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So somebody was telling me they were having trouble on phone calls. They would not handle the phone calls very well. And so a lot of coaches would say, let's practice working on your phone calls.
Let's get a phone script together.
Exactly. Let's role play around that.
Yeah.
So, but instead I said, wait, if you're having problems with phone calls, are you also having problem with Zoom calls? Oh yeah, by the way, I am. Are you also then having problems in meetings with public speaking? Oh yes, I am. So it kind of just dominoed into I'm having problems just expressing myself with groups. So once we dug down into what was really happening, we got down to I'm just having a problem because I'm in the wrong business. I'm in the wrong company because I'm not expressing myself because my boss wants me to say stuff I don't really want to say.
Ooh,
So therefore, when I'm on the phone, I can't get the words
it's
out.
not coming out.
And when I'm on Zoom, I can't get the words out. And when I'm in public speaking to a company, because I don't want to say those things. So do you see the difference between let's
Yeah.
just get a phone script going?
Yeah. That's
So
all the sales guys want to do, the phone script.
So you see how much bigger it is when we go deeper rather than let's practice the phone script.
Yes. And so how did that resolve itself? What was the solution to that? How did it work out?
I can't tell you that.
Well, I don't know their name. We'll have to pay her if we want to figure it out, guys.
That's what you have to invite me back, and then I'll tell you part 2.
Okay. All right. Fine. That's fine.
There you go.
So let's go to the next question, which is, we kind of went over the second question. So self-improvement, this podcast is called Harder Knowledge.
Right.
And we like to share, like us older people are trying to give back. And
I don't call me older people. Wait.
I said us older people. I wasn't talking to you. This is a communication issue.
All right.
So
I'm older than Ronnie. 3 months. 3 months older than Ronnie.
Way older than me.
3 months to the day. So excuse me, I interrupted you, but I just want to clarify us older people. So.
That's right. 3 months.
To the day.
They're like light years.
To the day.
Yeah.
All right.
You know how many times that is around the sun?
It's wait till his birthday. I'm going to remind him on his birthday. He's
the same age at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
All right. So listen.
Us older people, go back to that.
Oh my goodness. Me as an older guy, and actually it's according to Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. He says in the book, and it was written in the 30s, so forgive me, but he says men of a certain age will give you all the hard-earned knowledge they've learned if you only ask. So like, to me, it's important to learn during your journey what gave you the most improvement, if it's a book or anything like that, or some type of self-improvement. I know you've got a lot of schooling, but does anything stand out for you that was self-improvement that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. I'm big on books, and there's a lot of great information out there on YouTube, and I am all about that. I think also it's important to get mentors and shadow them or work with them. But I really do believe in either getting therapy or getting coaching. So books are great and YouTube is great, but you're not getting feedback from that information. So people will come in to me all the time, either as a therapist or as a coach, and say, yeah, I read all these books. I know this information, but the books don't see your blind spots. And the YouTube doesn't see your blind spots. So they come in with an arrow in their chest and they've read all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but what about this big arrow in your chest here? Because the book didn't point that stuff out to them.
Okay.
Right. It's like doing yoga or whatever through video. There's not a teacher to correct your form.
Right.
So I do believe in investing in coaching. Or if you have past trauma, whatever issues you need to work on, then you do need to see a therapist.
So get a mentor, get a coach, or a therapist. And you're not taking therapy clients, but you're definitely taking coaching clients.
I'm taking coaching clients.
She can use the therapy experience to improve your coaching experience.
Nailed it.
Yeah, this is going to be great for me and B&I.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot.
You're listening.
I'm trying.
Check this guy out.
I'm so much younger, so it's hard.
Did I see some gray hair up there?
Yeah, there's a few.
There's a few. Okay.
I'll cut them out. So, all right. Now, being an entrepreneur, you've worked for yourself as a therapist for 30 years, or did you work with companies and stuff like that?
I worked for companies for 10 years, and I was a college professor also in there as well. But I was in private practice for 20 years.
Okay. Private practice for 20 years. So here's the question. What do you love most about being your own boss, being an entrepreneur, building your own business? Share that with us today.
Most people answer this question and say it's the freedom. It is the freedom, but for a different reason. For me, it's the freedom because I can control the quality.
You can control the quality of that freedom?
No, excuse me. I can control the quality of what my clients receive. When I worked
Oh,
in
okay.
agencies and when I work for anybody else, they are controlling the quality. They say this is good enough. This this is a long enough session. This is enough. When I am controlling the quality, my clients get the very best.
Interesting.
So I have gotten the very best education that I could afford in America. I put myself through college,
Hmm.
and my clients get the very best of me. And I make sure the quality is the very best that I can offer them.
And nobody's telling you that's enough time, cut it off. This is it. Move on to the next one.
Nobody is telling me this is a good enough assessment. Nobody is saying, you know, this is, yeah, enough time, or we're not going to follow up. We don't need to have them call another agency after hours. My clients get me after hours. You know, my clients get me.
Okay.
So I control the quality.
What's super interesting about that is it's the same thing. You haven't seen Nate's interview yet. He was talking about
Mm,
the same thing.
interesting. Yeah.
As a physical therapist, he was saying that, well, this particular assessment takes 15 minutes in the hospitals, or
Yeah.
this takes 20
Yeah.
minutes, or this. He goes, no, you get the full hour, 90 minutes, whatever it is,
Right.
with him. You're going to get all of that and the follow up and all the things you're talking about. That was a hot button for him. So to hear it from two of you now, with,
Yeah.
I guess we're calling it the health field. Is it the same
The,
field?
yeah, the helping professions, the health fields,
Health and wellness or
health,
whatever.
yeah.
Right? So that's really interesting.
This gets me pretty upset because people call me, my own clients call me. I'm like, wow, I got you.
Mhm.
Yes. And if I called my doctor, I get the secretary or the manager or the
Mhm.
whatever or the nurse. I don't go straight to my doctor.
So you're not receiving the same quality when you go use stuff.
It's how it rolls.
Yeah.
Right. I don't call my doctor. I don't have my doctor's cell phone number. Right. But my clients call to me. Now, I'm not answering the phone at 2 a.m. Don't get me wrong. I got to sleep. Right. But the very best I can offer, everything I read, they got access to.
Right.
All my trainings, they have access to.
It's interesting because as a person that's uneducated like myself, or a lay person, I wouldn't have thought about that. Oh, it just is what it is. That was my assessment, or the physical therapist says I get 15 minutes and that's it, and it's supposed to work. Like, how would people know that? So I think it's another reason people should be reaching out to you, because
Mhm.
if I am going through physical therapy, I'm sorry, going through assessments
Mhm.
or going through something like that, and I feel like I'm not being treated to the best of the ability, then I could reach out to someone like yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, that's super interesting. Maybe I'm the only one in the room that's thinking that way, but like I'm like, no, that makes sense to me. Like, you enjoy the quality of controlling what your clients get, and that they're getting the full uh, scope of your expertise instead of just basically what the system says you should be delivering.
Right. And some of those clinicians are really amazing, but they're stuck in that system.
Hmm.
So they can offer more, but the system says you cannot. That's why I'm out of that system. So it's not always the clinician's fault. I want to be clear about that. But sometimes, but the
Yeah,
client,
yeah, it's not a negative thing on them.
right, I want to be clear, but the client doesn't know. You just think, because you are not supposed to know. You just got what you got.
Mhm.
And um, I don't know what to say, because people are often surprised by, like, wow, this is the level of service I received. So
That's really cool.
I'm super passionate about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's awesome to share, because you like that. You get control over that, and you want to deliver the best to your clients, and do a good job.
Mhm.
So that's important to you is amazing. I like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what you love most about being an entrepreneur. Is there anything else that you love about it?
I do love the freedom also in my own life. I can decide when to take a vacation. I can decide when to work,
Hmm.
because my day starts at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and by 5 o'clock, I'm toast. So my 6 o'clock, I have to cut it off.
Yeah.
And if I had to work at an agency, or someone telling me to work at 7, 8 o'clock at night, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. So I love that I know my own body and I can work according to the rhythms of my own body and whatnot. So that gives, again, back to the quality though. Quality of the services that gets transmitted to the client. I know when I need to take a vacation. It goes back to giving best service as possible.
Hmm.
But I can take care of myself, which allows me to do a better job.
Cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of those vacations, where's your favorite place to go?
In America or in Europe or what?
You and the follow-up questions.
I'm sorry. It's just
In the world.
all right. Look, just don't interview communication coaches. What do you want me to say?
She's being very clear.
You know, this is. I asked you, is this a dialogue or is this a one-way thing? So,
Okay.
All right, I'll answer, then you answer.
Okay.
Favorite place to go in the world? Ooh,
Yeah.
hard question. I could go anywhere right
That
now.
you've been.
That I've been, Barcelona.
Oh wow, Spain. So how was
Yeah.
that? Were you there for the Olympics or anything?
No.
No?
When I lived in Europe, I just love Barcelona. It was established by artists, man, and I mean everything is just art. It's just all art. Did you know I'm a registered art therapist?
You told me that when I was
Yeah.
in your office.
Yeah,
I don't know how that works.
right.
But
That's a whole different thing.
An art therapist.
Yeah, I'm a registered art therapist, not just an art therapist. Well, good. That's next time.
Okay.
Where would you go anywhere in the world?
In the world. I think I mean Egypt would be
Ooh,
that's my bucket list one.
yeah,
I want to touch a pyramid.
yeah.
You know, like it's so fascinating about I saw something the other day. I was like the Sphinx the Sphinx to the Egyptians back 3,500 years ago was already ancient. Like it was like really, you
Wow,
know,
really?
they always talk about building the pyramids. They don't talk about building the Sphinx. You know, like it's just assumed it goes along with it.
Wow.
And fact checkers, you could put it in there, but like for me, I'm like it's just so much unknown. And
Wow.
so, and you know, I was also thinking about how people must feel that lived in Egypt, and they look like we look at Pikes Peak and take it for
Right,
granted. But when
right.
your family comes here or whatever, and they're like stunned by the mountains, yeah,
Check it out. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot to look at that today.
the little hill, yeah, it's like,
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's funny how often we don't look at the mountains here.
I forget.
I wonder if that's how they feel about the Sphinx, and is it like Vegas? Like they're just running around and they're like, ah, it's just.
Well, it's like New Orleans. People, I live where you. We say that now about Colorado. I live where you vacation,
Uh-huh.
and then New Orleans. I'm like, oh yeah, I did this 45. People ask if I've ever been to Mardi Gras. I'm like,
of course,
21 times. Yeah.
Bourbon Street.
Well, Bourbon Street's not really New Orleans.
No?
Yeah, not really. No.
I don't know. I've been to the Red Stick with my buddy Jay.
You've never been to New Orleans.
I've been through there. I sailed out of there
I've
going
been
to Belize.
through New Orleans. Oh.
Yeah, I think I stayed a night.
Oh.
I didn't go there to hang out. It wasn't like a
Oh,
destination vacation.
This is taking a whole different turn. You got to go to New Orleans, not Bourbon Street, but go to New Orleans
And have a vacation.
and have it like absorb.
Can only eat so much catfish.
He
like
went
catfish.
he's thinking about catfish, like
Yeah.
the whole cuisine. It's a cuisine established by different kinds of people. I mean, Creoles and the Cajuns, and it's not just catfish.
You and Jay must have had a good conversation.
Jay, please call him. Call me, Jay, and we'll get on.
You know what? He's always on me about my cuisine. I don't like the food that he likes.
I think we've gotten off of the podcast.
Yeah.
People watching this are like, what?
Like he loves crawfish. He does a big crawfish boil.
Oh, cool.
Like an amazing
Why
one.
am I not invited?
Well, we didn't know you at the time.
Yeah, okay.
And actually he did this big crawfish boil when he actually at that crawfish boil he proposed to my sister-in-law.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, but it was like a big deal. Like I think I ate one maybe. But you gotta eat like 30 of them, man. I'm like, he must have boiled like 1 billion of them, but you guys like your cuisine in New Orleans.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
So tell us your favorite success story.
I'm just
Can't get over the cuisine.
I'm just absorbing this. But we'll have a sidebar conversation about you in New Orleans. Favorite success story. It's hard because it's really exciting to see people grow. And to see people start in one place and for them to come up with their own steps and find their own solutions, right? Good coaching is not about putting things in front of them, right? Good coaching is about asking the right questions, and then they uncover what is right for them. I don't know what's right for people. I don't know what is available, the tools available to them. And I don't have to live with the consequences of their decisions. So good coaching is about them uncovering what is right for them. So I don't know that I could come up with a single success story, but I will tell you, I do right now have some clients who are in their 70s
Really?
and who are doing some work around communication, and it is really exciting.
And they're still coachable.
Uh, Of course. I mean, the brain is so plastic. You've heard of the term neuroplasticity.
Yes, I've heard that term.
And it just says that we can still change our brain at any age. And to see clients at any age, I have kids, all, teenagers, all the way up to people in their 70s. Many people, I have a couple people in their 70s still learning and growing and making their lives better.
Wow.
It is amazing.
That's really
love it.
powerful.
I love it.
I think most of us are like what they call set in their ways. Like that's another thing that's really cool to hear from you.
Mhm,
Clients in the 70s, for
mhm,
you being out people out there.
mhm.
That's awesome. Because like I think I always feel like I'll be set in my ways at like 60. I got 7 years before I don't believe anything else that I'm taught,
Uh-huh,
whatever.
uh-huh.
But you're saying that's not true.
Not true.
Stay coachable, always be learning.
Well, yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Well, you talk about the importance of learning and growing,
Mhm.
right? You talk about how important it is to be reading all the time and challenging yourself. And people can do that their whole lives. It's really exciting.
That's really good. And you help with that.
Mhm.
That's a really good story. I like the success story with the 7-year-olds. Like,
Mhm.
try and get my parents to get on the phone with you. Do you do coaching out of state?
I do coaching worldwide.
Worldwide?
I have my International Coaching Federation certificates, so I can coach people anywhere.
Okay.
Yep, I can do video coaching, phone, FaceTime, Zoom.
That's a superpower. You're not landlocked to just working with people in Colorado Springs.
Right.
I mean, that means you can like literally you can touch a lot of people with your business.
Yeah, I do have an office,
Hmm.
and a lot of people do like to come and be seen in person, and
Yes,
that is cool. And for people who are somewhere else, yeah, we'll just get on video. It's the magic of the internet, right?
that's really good. That is super good.
Yeah.
I like that you can branch out your business. It makes it kind of exponential. Like you can
Yeah.
do a lot.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
The car business is different.
Yeah.
So I like that you can do that. I mean that really is something. Are you going to focus on that? Like share with us some of the moves you're going to make to focus on building your business.
So this is that book, The Next 5 Moves.
Mhm.
And I have been thinking about that because especially since I've been in this business development phase, growing, where am I going to go? I think the first thing I really want to build is that consulting side of my business. I really love
You're focusing in now. You're making that target.
I am. I am. I love coaching. And of course, I still have the therapy side. I love coaching, but really build out that consulting and teaching aspect. I see them as going together.
Like Fortune 500 companies. What type of companies you're going to be looking for?
I think mid-sized businesses work. I love working with the leaders
Hmm.
and helping them figure out where they're getting stuck.
Right. So how would they identify that they need help?
With them right now, they're coming to me. So that's the first thing. They're just saying we're stuck in this area, and um, that's the first thing. They're coming to me and just
So
asking
they have to
for
be open
skills.
to it.
Sure. Well, that's always the thing. If they are not open to change, then it's not going to work.
But can you like look at it like from a like you've got the CEO, you've got the C-suite, you've got all these VPs and things like that, and the top person is trying to move the whole vision
Mhm,
forward.
mhm,
How do they communicate to their VP that hey, you may need this in your life?
mhm,
Because some of us like coming from a military background and stuff like that, like how would I ever identify it on my own? It's just like you said earlier, it's a blind spot.
mhm,
Like I don't know I have this blind spot.
mhm.
So how do like if I'm looking for referrals for you,
Okay.
how do I find these people and point that out in a nice way that would be received?
What I always say is sometimes they do an internal audit of company culture, and
Mhm.
there's a gap. They think they're doing really well. The internal audit is saying they're not doing as well as they thought they were doing. So that's a time to bring in a communication coach and say,
something's going on. There's a disconnect.
There is a disconnect. So that's a time. Sometimes they're getting feedback from the employees, just something's happening there, and their employee retention problem. They're getting bad Google reviews, depending on the company. Bad Google reviews, don't know why that's happening. I say if you have more than 3 bad Google reviews, depending on the size of your company, that's the time to bring in a communication coach to see what's happening. So there are things like this are happening and they're not really sure what's going on. It's easy to blame everyone else. It's easy to say, I hear this a lot, no one wants to work.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's important to look in.
Everybody seems to be saying that now in like the whole world. Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to do this. Nobody wants to, you know what I mean? Like you're hearing the same thing and you're with your business.
Right. And I hear that a lot also. But when you look at why are you having an employee retention problem? Is this something you could be doing that is not you, but
no, I'm fine with it. Yeah. Like, because I want those answers.
No. I mean, this is something the company, I meant to say you, is it something the company could be doing that is causing the employee retention problem? And is it something the company could be doing to attract different employees that might be more willing to stay and be retained? So that's again where a communication coach could be helping with the messaging.
I think it's an amazing message because I think that I was listening to a podcast, you know, it's the only thing in my car nowadays. But, you know, people are using the words, people don't want to work. I can't find anybody to hire. Instead of the words, we suck at hiring.
Right.
We suck at our processes. Right. We suck at communication.
We don't offer a good benefits package.
Yeah. You know, not communicating the value proposition, you know, properly.
Right. Management is not handling conflict correctly.
A lot of that is going on. And I think it's going, us business people, I think it's going by us really fast. The easy thing is to say that nobody wants to do anything.
Yes.
But how could it even be true though? Like, how could people believe it? Because the world is still, you know, all of these people and all of a sudden nobody wants to work. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. I was saying it too, like months ago, nobody wants to work, whatever. Like, because it's like the easy thing to say.
Right.
But I think you have to look internally.
I think it's important to unpack it. And I think it's important because it's a complex situation. And the messaging is really important because there's so much, I'm going to use this word, diversity.
Yes.
Now.
It's not a bad word.
Well, it's a sticky word because sometimes the people at the top don't match the people that they're trying to recruit. And so we just think of diversity as racial, ethnic, but I mean, I'm talking about age, I'm talking about military status, disability status, LGBTQ, queer, I mean, so
lots of different things,
gender, religion. And so when these don't match, we need to think about messaging there as well. But age can be a big one. If the people at the top are a different age of the people they're trying to recruit, your messaging has to change.
Yeah, that's something, you know, we've got young people here and we've got older people here, much older.
Much older.
Bonnie.
Bonnie's old. Bonnie's older than both of us. So.
Right. Much older. Many, many more times around the sun.
4 months older than us.
But like,
do you think she's going to watch this? I don't know.
No, I doubt it. Okay. I'll tell her about it.
Okay.
But like, the thing is, it's like, you know, you've got some really good ideas. Like, these are things I'm glad you're on. Because number one, you're in my BNI group. I consider you a friend. And I think that I want to learn how to refer you more. I want to learn about your business and how it can be effective. And it's hard to pick up this stuff without, like you use the words, unpacking it. You know, like, wow, I didn't, you know, this is amazing to me. Like, you can do a lot of little things for companies. Like, you can literally work with Go Wireless with Jay. You know, so hopefully you guys can continue that dialogue and build on that. And maybe you'll be working with them with communications. I would like him to communicate better with me. Can you fix that?
I can.
Yeah.
But you need to look inward, like we just said.
It's on me. That he would probably agree right now. I'll see him this weekend.
Okay. Tell him I said so.
All right. I'll tell him exactly that.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
We shared the well, did we go through this already?
We did.
And we're fast. All right.
Yeah, but there's something I want to say.
Go for it.
Okay. So a lot of what I think about in terms of my job. So you know Michael Minozzi.
Yes.
In our BNI group.
Yeah. He's done all of the IT stuff here.
Okay. Well, here's my relationship with Michael. Something goes wrong on my computer. I don't know what it is. I panic. I call or email him, and he'll say, toggle this one thing. Everything's stuck, right? I'm stuck.
No.
Nothing goes right.
You can't communicate with the computer.
I can't communicate with the computer. And I can't move my workday forward until whatever stuck is unstuck. So I send him a panic email or a whining, whatever. And then he doesn't know what it is either. So he has to like problem solve what's going on, what happened. And I'm like whining. And then like sometimes it's just like toggle over this one thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's super simple. And then, everything's working again.
Okay.
Right. And sometimes it's update your operating system or whatever. He has to figure it out. My job is exactly the same as his.
We're in crisis.
It's exactly the same because sometimes it's super simple. Hey, Ronnie, instead of saying it this way, say it that way. Just toggle this over and you won't have that problem. Sometimes it's, hey, Ronnie, you need to update your operating system. People don't say it like that anymore. Okay. And just like Michael is always trying to tell us, get ahead of this, get ahead of the hackers, get ahead of this. And we don't listen to Michael, right? We're like, yeah.
You'll fix it.
And then we get hacked. And then we're like, Michael, we need you right now.
Right now.
Oh, no, I didn't listen. He tried to tell us. And just like I'm doing the same thing. Hey, everybody, get ahead of this. Improve your communication skills. You work on this now. But then, of course, someone's going to have a big problem with whatever, and then they'll need a communication coach, and that's fine. But it's very similar type of process, right? Between me and Michael, the way we approach it, because when my day gets jammed, then it's a communication with me and the computer, and Michael's the guy I call in to fix everything, and I'm trying to help people get unjammed also in their communication flow.
Okay, so what I heard is if you do preventive maintenance and planning, it can be a lot better for you and more effective. Is it also less expensive? Like if I'm working with you, like I've got a company and we don't have these issues, it's the same thing in my business. Like it's usually either you plan it or we're in crisis mode and we've got to fix it because of the hailstorm or because of lack thereof planning, So how do you feel about that in your business? Like if people are constantly working with you, like on a regular basis, is that less painful and less expensive than fixing the crisis that needs to be dealt with tomorrow?
It's always better to do preventative maintenance. We always know this about taking care of our bodies, taking care of our relationships, taking care of our cars.
Yes.
Not letting our computers be hacked so that we're on the phone crying to Michael
I wouldn't have
about
thought of
whatever.
that.
Working on our communication skills is always better. There's always something I need to work on things. We always can be improving something so that we don't have a big communication breakdown that grinds everything to a halt. Wait, should I have been saying this other thing? This is a new way to do this. I had no idea. And then now it's ground to a halt. Now we have to really unpack a big problem when it could have been a small problem or a no problem because we were working on this all along. Sure, maintenance is always better, but people often wait until it's a big crisis.
Yeah, you said that very nicely, that they often wait.
We all do.
I should say that too. Yes, you should plan your vehicles and you should know
you
that
do say that.
You haven't had payments in 5 years.
You do say that at BNI.
But people often don't plan.
You say that at BNI all the time. That's another good example. Don't you say that?
I do, but we like dealing with the crises.
You do?
No, like we as a society.
Oh,
like,
we as a society.
The car's not running. I need a car next Tuesday. It's like, oh my goodness.
And I have $5,000. Buy me a car.
Right. What did you say again? What were those nice words you used?
Preventative is always better.
But yeah, and because we don't often plan.
Because we don't often plan.
Oh, you didn't plan for this, right? Yeah. Okay. We'll get off of that. So let's. I had some other stuff. So like, I think it's amazing that I even learned that today, that you can be used for preventative maintenance. Do you have any, like, how do you perform your business? Let's bring your website up because, this is, we need to make that bigger. So this is her website. This is her speaking.
Yep.
And you can go to different pages on the website and learn more about her. You can actually book appointments here. There's video there. One exciting thing to talk to her about. So here's how you can book a 30-minute introductory session, guys, right there. Just click on the date and get it booked. We can all communicate better, right?
Yes.
I've gone and done one. I learned a lot about myself in that time frame. There's some FAQs here that you can go through. And this is actually, I think your business is wonderful. It's like something that should be taught in school, like, like starting in high school,
Yes.
along with balancing your checkbook. But, this is great. So share with us, um, what else you would like to talk about that's big on the horizon that you just started last week,
Big on the
and how
horizon.
do they find you?
I'm drawing a blank.
Now, you've been working on it all weekend.
Oh, sure. My YouTube channel.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, my YouTube channel. I just was held accountable by some very kind people in my BNI, meaning they got all over my case, which I'm so glad. So I started a YouTube channel, which helps people to bring together the mental health aspect with the communication coaching, because those questions keep coming up to me. How do I do this if I have the mental health aspect and I want to communicate better? So I'm putting those together for people.
What's the name of the channel?
Strong Voices.
I'm looking it up. I'm going to bring this up for people.
Yeah.
I hold the record in the room. I'm the first subscriber.
Yeah, Ronnie. I have one subscriber. It's Ronnie.
That's so cool. Not you.
That's not me. No.
Oh boy, what? There's more than one Strong Voices.
No. It's just,
Hang on, we'll get there.
we'll get there.
Not this one either. So there's more. Okay, this is good. So we're going to go through this. It's right here.
Here it is.
We're going to take this and cut it and paste it in there.
Very good. I have one subscriber. It's Ronnie. I
think you're going to have another one. So we're putting this in the chat. So this is your YouTube channel at Strong Voices. Why did you decide to do this, and how do you think it's going to help your business?
I decided to do this because people are asking me questions. So I'm doing a couple of videos just based on the questions that people are asking me, and I'll keep doing them. And it's just to offer free knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
How do I deal with difficult customers?
Yeah, you had one on earlier today. Was like, what was it? I saw it. It came up on my feed, and I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." It was let's see, it's on your channel.
Yeah.
It was how to deal with
highly verbal or highly
highly sensitive HSP.
HSP.
What is an HSP?
Yes, HSP is a highly sensitive person, and it's well documented, and it is been researched.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just explaining it to you because a lot of people.
I am HSP?
I don't know if you're an HSP.
Wow.
Let me finish the conversation, and
Go ahead.
will know.
Go for it.
Calm down and drink some water.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Go ahead. Tell us about it.
You're not drinking water. HSP is a highly sensitive person. It means a person who is not sensitive like you think, but a person who is more sensitive to stimuli. So, for example, you have two babies and you turn them back to back, and you ring a bell. One baby goes, and one baby goes, and cries and cries and cries and won't calm down. So these babies grow up and become adults. And so some people are just like overwhelmed by noise, or they're overwhelmed by light or smell or whatever. Does that describe you?
Maybe when I was a baby. I'm not sure if I'm overwhelmed by light and noise.
Okay, and smell, or like if someone has like perfume on, it really bothers you, gives you a headache, or ambulances when they pass you, you're like, oh my gosh, or rock concerts or violent content on TV, any of this. You would know immediately. If I said any of this, you'd be like, that's me. Okay. That's an HSP. And it's 20% of the population. Okay. So anybody who.
That's a big number.
Yeah. So people who are HSPs, I'm an HSP, noise is just overwhelming to me. When there's a lot of noise, I can do about an hour of it. And then after that, I am just completely overwhelmed. But we have to network.
Yeah.
We have to network. Or people who are overwhelmed. Some people it's visual stimuli, and some people it's smell, and some people it's all of this. So I was looking for a video to help me. Like someone's made a video about being an HSP and how to network in business. No one did. So I made a video for me and people like me.
I was wondering why you made that video. That's interesting.
Because I love our BNI. I love it. It's big and everybody's amazing.
It's an hour and 45 minutes. It's a little over your threshold there.
It is. Good people good people. I enjoy meeting with everybody, but after about an hour, I'm maxed out. And then when I go outside, I'm like, whew. So I take breaks. I follow my own advice. I go in the bathroom. We get our 1 minute break now.
Yeah.
And you said it's just not necessary. It's necessary. So while everybody's eating breakfast, I go in the bathroom and take it down a bit. I stand up in the back, or I try to go in the corners.
It's working, because I haven't noticed it at all that you've had an issue.
You haven't noticed I'm not climbing on the walls or anything. So it's just the noise content. So I don't go to places that are very loud, or I try to control it, because
you're not a concert person then.
I've been to 2 concerts in my whole life.
Were they stressful, I'm assuming?
Well, first one I didn't know. I didn't know that it would overwhelm me like that. And the second one, it was Rolling Stones, and the tickets were free. So what are you gonna do, right?
Rolling Stones free tickets?
And at the Alamo Dome. So what are you gonna do?
Good Lord.
I know.
My son was looking up Taylor Swift tickets the other day, because he likes Taylor Swift, and they're like $1,600.
What?
Yeah.
What?
For an obstructive view seat.
Obstructed view seat.
Poor guy. He was looking at it, he goes, Dad, this one's only $1,600. It says he's got an obstructed view. I was like, oh,
so you're watching like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
$1,600 per ticket?
I don't think Taylor Swift charges that. I think that depends on who you're listening to, but I think some AI is buying up all the tickets.
Yeah, the bots.
Yeah, and so by the time you log in,
did you get him a ticket?
No, he's 16,
that
and
poor boy.
What it means? We'd have to buy 2. $3,200, because we can't go by yourself at 16. Even though he thinks he can drive to Denver, park his car,
he can't
walk up there, do all that stuff.
That's child abuse. I just want to say
he's 16. When he's 18, okay, maybe. I'd rather 19 or 20, 21. He's still my little baby. I love that guy. I feel bad for him, is all I'm saying.
That's ridiculous. I just want to say that I'm teasing about child abuse. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Can you go outside of the concert and just listen for free?
They have those things. Yes, they have those things outside the concert. No, it's real. They park there. They don't have the money to get the tickets, so they go and park at this place, and they listen to. You can still hear the music.
I was just making that up.
I know, but I still don't want him to drive there for that. Not by himself.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So that was a great. I like that you said that. What I was trying to get out of her was, she's doing YouTube now. There's this big canvas out there of social platforms, and there's lots of us older people who have opinions about what is going on in the social stratosphere. And sometimes I post a lot of stuff. I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be. I'd like to do more, because we're trying to adopt the feeling of, it doesn't care what our opinion is. We know this stuff is working. We know this is where you can reach, like we said it earlier, international business.
Yeah.
How are you going to reach India or something like that? You have a free platform you can use to post stuff and reach them, instead of paying somebody or some ad agency to go run ads for you. So you can do that. I think it's amazing that you actually started that. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. What I love is that I can bring in information like being an HSP, which a lot of people who've been in therapy, they're in therapy because they didn't know. They have all this anxiety, and I can't be around people. And the therapist says, "Do you know about HSP?" Oh, well, now they have to business network. So those are 2 different things. So that's the communication coaching, and I can put them together. So there's that piece I can bring together for people.
Help them network, help them, I don't want to use the word endure, but help them navigate, going into a highly sensitive place.
Exactly.
And being able to thrive in that environment and do business.
And so bringing these together and keep making videos, or just the questions that people are asking me, and give free content. And whatever people at BNI are asking me, or I'm hearing out there, I can keep providing this free content on my YouTube channel. And it's great to be out there, but it's just great that people can find me
and give back to the world, leave a legacy.
I love that I can just provide things that a lot of this I had to learn myself. Being an HSP, I had to figure this out myself.
Hard-earned knowledge.
I had to learn the hard way.
You know what else you could do with it is, if you're going to work with the leaders of these companies, and some salespeople, metrics and analytics are really good for people. And let's say they're doing trade shows. This company has 100 employees, and they do trade shows all over the country. And some are effective, and some aren't effective. And what sales managers do is replace the people. instead of, like you said, unpack it and dig deeper. And it's like, maybe these people are HSPs. Maybe you can help them be more effective at the Vegas trade show with your stuff, and feel better about themselves and more comfortable, and they want to be more effective too,
Right.
but they don't even know how and don't even know they're an HSP.
Right. And that's the other video I did on highly verbal people. A lot of people who are highly verbal getting themselves in trouble, not knowing how to manage their highly verbal skills. Another question I get a lot in therapy.
Continuously rambling sentences and stuff. Yeah.
They're very smart people and they have high verbal skills. So I put that one up. And sometimes it depends on where it's coming from. Is it rooted in anxiety? Is it rooted in ADHD? Is it rooted in just all these ideas are flowing? Where's it coming from? But how do you manage those high verbal skills? It's a great thing to have, but you need to manage it because otherwise people are just getting overwhelmed with those high verbal skills.
I've had clients sit there and go through that with me.
Mhm.
And when they leave, I'm like, oh yeah, that was way too much information. Like you got 30 years of information in 30 minutes.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh my goodness, I'll never hear from them again.
Because it is too much. We need to learn how to dial that back. People just get overwhelmed or they shut down. So
yes.
That was the second.
And nobody shakes their head, I don't understand. They're like, yeah, I understand completely.
No one says stop.
No, they don't. But they leave and they never come back.
So they say stop in a different way.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great way to identify that too. Yeah. I think I'll be a 70-year-old client one day. Continuously working on that communication.
We all need to.
It's blind spots, man.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you use those two words because I think all of us have them. We don't like to, I can't speak for everybody, but I don't like to admit it. You got blind spots, you want to be great, but like, I think part of being great is you understand you got some blind spots, you need some help.
I love that. I'm interviewing him now. How do you know how do you find your blind spots?
I think it's feedback, pretty much. Like the biggest way that I identify things is how the clients respond, are they coming back? Are they, you know what I mean? Like, I think the market dictates what's going on, whether it be good or bad, but there's still blind spots there. Like, cause you can think you're doing a good job, but you just aren't really communicating. Like one big thing that's been on my mind is the copy of my entire brand. The copy. I'm not talking about ad copy. I'm just talking about the word copy, like how it's reading. What is it? Is it really? And I'll tell you right now, it's not saying what I want it to say.
Okay.
It was written by a company. Like I don't really like it. I want to rewrite the whole thing. And I'm using ChatGPT. It'd be nice to have your feedback on it once I start actually having the time to work on it. I don't want to be held accountable on that time frame right now.
That's fine.
But when I'm ready, I will be like, okay, I'm ready.
I'll be an accountability partner.
Yes. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this done in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I mean, do you have any follow-up feedback on that? How should I be looking at it? What should I be looking at for how to identify those blind spots?
Everybody's different. That's why I was curious how you identify your blind spots. I have more of an intuitive process. Of course, I get feedback.
You have a process. See, intuitive is great, but you have a process because you're in the field, right? I don't have a process, and maybe I need it processed.
I don't know if it's because I'm in the field. I'm curious. Maybe I'll just start asking people this question. I just have more of an intuitive process of, oh, that didn't feel good. And, oh, I did it again. Oh, I'm noticing. To me, it's threes. First one, ignore. Second one, pay attention. And the third one, you have a pattern. Rule of threes. Rule of threes of anything. So rule of threes is people will tell you, oh, whatever. You have a daddy problem, daddy issues. If you heard it one time, ignore it. If you hear it 2 times, pay attention. If you 3 times, you have a pattern, right? Or car accident one time, ignore it, whatever. Same thing, whatever. But third time, you got a pattern. Yeah. So first time I do something, that didn't feel good. Third, 3 times, okay, now I have a
pattern is developing.
Pattern is there. It's my blind spot. I didn't notice I was doing this. But so it's more internal. Like,
well, how would you teach me though to come up with a process for identifying blind spots? Like, is that something you've worked on yet? If you haven't, that's fine. Like, I'm put on the spot here. So
yeah,
if you haven't worked on that, great. Do you think that would be effective for even like the top people, like well, how would they answer that question? How do you identify the blind spots?
I think it depends on how everybody works. If you rely on feedback and you have people close to you that will give you, number one, give you feedback. Number two, are giving you honest
Yeah.
feedback. See, are your people giving you honest feedback, and are you accepting the honest feedback? But do you surround yourself, not you, but does a person surround themselves with people that give them honest feedback? Just like in the book, your next 5 moves, he talks about surrounding yourself with
Hmm.
people who are going to give you really good feedback. But some people don't do that. They don't want to hear it.
Well, they want to please the boss, or they want
Sure.
everything to be, oh, that's great. Yeah, I mean,
So that's one thing about feedback. You can't rely on that. And then people use everything. So I guess I have to really think about that. How do some people are more intuitive like me? Are you intuitive?
I feel like I don't have this noise issue. Like
Mhm.
there's certain things about being out in the public that bother me,
Mhm.
you know, in the position of where I'm seating or whatever, but I don't really,
Right.
have.
Well, but do you feel it with like your body? Like, oh, something's
Yeah,
off.
like, oh
That's what
yeah,
I'm
like
talking.
if you walked in here, I'm like, what's wrong?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Like I know that, like, and I
Right.
know that with my team,
Mhm.
maybe I should be paying attention more closely.
Mhm.
Because I think you can always be better with it. I don't want to be like, I know them, he's fine,
Right.
but I feel like I do have that gift. Like, okay, I
Mhm.
know something's up.
Uh-huh.
What's up? Let's talk about it. Pull the band-aid off.
Right.
Bonnie will come to me and go, I know you're probably going to know something's up. Don't bring it up because I'm dealing with this. And I'm like, okay.
Uh-huh.
Which I love that about her,
Uh-huh.
because then I don't have to ask. And if you respect that boundary, then she's fine. You know,
So are you intuitive with yourself? So there's intuition about other people, but there's intuition about yourself. Like,
we're going
oh,
deeper.
yeah. So there's intuition. Like I said, we know about other people. Like something's up with Bonnie or something's up with
Right.
Marcus. But is there intuition you have? Like I said, like with myself, like I did something last night. I'm like, oh, I did that again. Oh, I don't like how that feels. So are you paying attention to your own?
You mean like if I have an interaction with a client and it doesn't go well, like, yeah, I can identify. I love doing that at the end of transactions or the
Mhm.
end of, you know, meetings. We actually talk about it in the office. It's like you need to identify what happened.
Okay.
There's a reason why something's going on. It's probably you or
Mhm.
something you didn't. Not that you're a bad person or
Right, right, right.
you can't do it,
It's behavior. Yeah.
but like you went too fast.
Mhm.
Or like when you're doing sales, it's you can't just go to let me have your wallet.
Right.
You have to build value. You have to talk about, people want to know who you are, where the company's from, how
Mhm.
long you've been around. Like, and so if you speed things up, it can make things awkward and uncomfortable, and then they don't want to do business,
Right.
and you're left wondering why. But if you go back and just look at these things and self-diagnose, you can usually point out the exact area where you were too much or not enough.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I'm as intuitive as I could be, but we do look at it from a 30,000-foot view of it's not just the customer. It's probably something that we did. We didn't give them the opportunity or the right invitation
Mhm.
to do business, and we went too fast or too slow or whatever. I think that the easy thing to do is always blame the client.
Yeah. Let's just do that.
I mean, if you don't want to sell anything,
Let's not do that.
no.
So was it Napoleon Hill who said, I can't believe it was remember. Napoleon Hill was great. I like that book. Who said that at the end of every week on Sunday, he would sit back and reflect. He would take out his planner and look over the week's transactions and reflect on his behavior of every transaction and think about how he acted and basically reflect and criticize himself like I could have done this, could have done that. It was very painful. And then over the years, it was less and less painful because he got more in alignment with himself.
He faced it and he dealt with it.
Yeah. But it wasn't about just like, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, but it was more about becoming in alignment with his own values
Okay.
as a
Mhm.
person. Um, so I like that idea, just taking time to self-reflect of this was not in alignment with who I want to be. Last night I did something, it was not as kind as I wished to be.
Yeah.
I just said something I meant to be joking and
Didn't
it
resonate.
didn't land. So I was just like, oh, I I could do better there.
Yeah.
So it was just out of alignment with my own values. It's so important to me to be kind.
Mhm.
So, reflecting like that, but that takes time to do that.
Yeah, I think, if you're in sales, I think you're forced to do that a lot. I couldn't ever do it on Sundays.
Mm. Well,
And
I
I
don't mean,
wouldn't use a planner. But
well,
in the
yeah,
30s,
yeah,
that's what they did. Is like,
sure.
I think that Bonnie and I call them postmortems
Okay.
after the deals, or they don't go or whatever. It's like, let's do a postmortem, let's talk about it. And we did it for a good couple of years straight, and so I think reflecting on it is important because you always have to look for what you could have done better.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and sometimes I did the best I could. I think you find those things just like, no, there's nothing else I could have done to have made this deal work out.
It sounds like you do have a process.
Well, I don't know if we've ever really we call them postmortems, but I don't think there's anything. It's not in the book of training. Like I have a training manual, and it's not in the manual. And I find these conversations interesting because sometimes I'm like, we should put that in there. And so that is actually going to go in there for my other broker trainings that I have across the country. It's like once you're done, if you're always blaming the client, you're going to be done. You're not going to go very far. So I think that self-reflection is important. So, but yeah, like for you, like I think I was just looking for that. Um, it's got to be a name for it at a major corporation. Maybe Jay could chime in again. Like, what do you guys do for this? When you don't know you have blind spots. That's really, we got off on a tangent, but like the blind spot thing I think is very important because we don't see them coming. That's why they're called blind spots. So what is the system for identifying them?
Yeah.
I just got the Chick-fil-A book. I haven't read it yet. It's like months out, but I own it now. But I'm like, wow, how did you keep everybody happy? It's called, Are We All Happy? Is everybody happy? Right. And I'm like, dang, I can't wait to finish that one. That might be the last book I need because Chick-fil-A is super successful. If I start speaking differently in BNI, you know what book I'm reading.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Okay. I'll be curious and maybe I'll have to read it too.
I don't know. I'm excited about it though. You know how that came about?
No.
Bonnie and I were talking in here about something. And I was like, I bet Chick-fil-A has a book that I always have these great, like that we really put a lot of thinking in, guys. And she goes, yeah, it's right here. You should get it. And I'm like, I'm getting it. And then it's here. It's literally right here. Is everybody happy?
All right.
So that's how we make decisions when we're doing stuff.
Okay.
And then Bonnie's like, let me know how it is. She's not going to read that one. She's too busy publishing a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that she just asked me to write a foreword on that book?
Good.
Isn't that amazing? Thank you, Bonnie. I'm going to be immortalized in her book.
That's awesome.
I'm immortalized as the first subscriber in your YouTube channel.
Yes. Yes.
Do I get something for that?
You do.
Is it monetary? Like, can I spend it?
It's not monetary.
Is it like a year's worth of coaching or?
It is definitely not a year's worth of coaching.
Definitely not that.
It is not.
Okay.
Let's see. Hold on. It is a pen. It is this pen right here. It is a pen. Here. It is a pen from TLC Realty and Property.
This is my property manager, Tammy.
Yeah.
TLC Realty and Property Management.
Yeah.
Love you, Tammy.
There
She's
you go.
awesome.
I just gave you a pen. There you go. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yes. Yes.
First subscriber gift.
Yes. There we go.
Is there anything else you'd like to share today or get out into the universe?
What else did we not cover?
I feel like I learned a lot. I'm always the least educated in the room. I'm telling you that, guys. Like anybody else out there that's trying to build a business or something, and you may be feeling down on yourself for not finishing college or something, like I'm always the least educated in the room on paper.
I want to say something about that. Can I say something about that specific thing?
Am I going on? I'm on the couch again?
No, you're not on the
Okay,
couch.
go ahead.
Not yet. I want to talk about that because people confuse education with intelligence, and that bugs me. So
this is from the highest educated, right? That's what you're saying.
Because people will say this all the time. People will say, oh, I did pretty well in school, so I'm pretty smart. Or even worse, people will say, I didn't do well in school, and so I'm not very smart.
We do associate them. I do.
Yeah, yeah. Because our society connects getting straight A's with being smart. And that we need to separate the egg white and the egg yolk, because I'm not taking away anything from anybody who got straight A's or got a 4.0 or has higher education. I'm not taking anything away from them. Okay. What that meant was you followed directions really well and you worked really hard. I didn't do well in school, by the way.
But you were a professor at one point.
Yeah, I know. But I didn't do well in school.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call someone who graduates at the bottom of her doctoral class?
Doctor.
Doctor. I graduated 4 out of 4. Woo.
You didn't have a 1.8, did you?
No, I passed.
Good.
I graduated. And in graduate school, you have to have a 3.0 and higher. You have to have A's and B's.
Well, see, I wouldn't know that.
Of course you didn't know. That is the point, though. Nobody checks your GPA. You just have to graduate. Now, my dad was also going through chemo, and I was working 2 jobs, and I was a full-time professor. It was a lot. Okay, so there's a reason I wasn't just skating by, but I still.
You worked hard. You just had a lot of challenges.
Okay, I was going through a lot of challenges, but the point is, having straight A's, it does not make you smart. There's a lot of smart people out there who think outside the box. So, and this happens to me a lot. The teacher would say, put your name here and staple here and 5 ideas here. And I'm like, wait, I have a really great idea. And the teacher would be like, that's not what I said to do. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted my own idea. So I was doing my own thing and I didn't get an A because I was doing my own thing. And so I would get like a C.
Okay.
So, or people who didn't have the benefit of education because they had to support their family or go into the military, or they had to drop out of school to support a family. They just wanted to work with their hands. Having higher education doesn't make you smart. There's a lot of really smart people out there who are not educated. I want to separate the egg white and the egg yolk.
All right, guys, you heard it from her. From what did the DL Hughley says? This is the GED section over here. I got a degree though. I mean, not a degree, a diploma. I did get the diploma. You know, I had to go to night school to get my diploma. So in high school in 1987, you had to pass government.
Oh, really?
It was so boring. You know, the 3 branches of government.
Yeah, it was boring. I graduated in 87 too. I know, it was boring.
Executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial, right? So, but like these things I had to remember that I couldn't remember, and I got an F in government. So at that point, after the first semester, they said, you're not going to walk.
Oh,
I know, right?
Oh, man.
Dude, I had to go home and tell mom and dad that.
Oh, man.
Do you realize how stressful that was in the 80s? Like,
yeah.
Hey, guys, got some news for you. Your boy won't be walking, throwing his hat.
What?
I'll have to go to summer school.
Oh, no.
And finish.
Oh, no.
If we choose to. I could just, no diploma. But then my parents, I don't know how they figured this out, but they were like, well, you can go to the community college and do this night school course.
Yeah.
And so I got a C in that.
Right.
Which allowed me to walk.
Right.
With my class. I don't think any of my class knew that. Like maybe they did.
Oh, Ronnie, that's hard.
I mean, as 17, yeah, it was very stressful.
Yeah, that's very hard. That can be really embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the problem too. It's like, it's so embarrassing. Like,
it is.
That you don't get this thing that everybody else is doing.
Right.
This once in a lifetime thing.
Right.
Is taken away from you because you couldn't name 3 branches of government.
It really is. That's my point. That's my point. They put so much emphasis on getting this grade. And I mean, don't get me wrong, education, we need to know how things work and all of this. But some people work better with their hands, or some people work better with, this is where the learning styles, it's really learning preferences, come into play. Mm-hmm. Because we all learn differently. And me sitting in a classroom, stuck in a desk, just talking to me.
It didn't really work for me.
It doesn't work for me either. I'm a visual learner.
I mean, I think I can tell you, like, listening to you now, I always wondered why school didn't resonate with me. Like, because I actually did okay in school. Mm-hmm. I could regurgitate stuff. I could read this and write a book report really quickly. Uh-huh. I could read and type at the same time and do that stuff. Uh-huh. Because I knew what I was doing. I was just like, you want me to write something on what I learned here? Okay, I can do that.
Right.
Here's your 50 paragraphs. We're good to go. Mm-hmm. Do I want to do it? Am I interested in it?
Right.
This is the most boring thing I could ever imagine doing.
Right.
Is looked upon in such a negative way at that time that it's just all encompassing. Like everything is like this. You're not going to amount to, and then the you're not going to amount to anything
Exactly.
because you can't do this. You know.
And then it translates into people's self-esteem, and then we're still here. People our age are like, I'm the least educated person in the room.
Yeah, I'm still carrying it around.
That's what I'm talking
Like
about.
I'm always like, yeah, like I mean, but I use it in like as a force for good because when I'm like teaching, like I got a broker in California who he has his own business. He wants to learn from me, and he's wondering, you know, how is he going to get better? And he's got all the school, he's got all the stuff, and I'm like, hey, you know, this you can still do this without all of the tools and where you're because we talk about his blind spots. So here's where you're missing things.
Right.
And this is what I've learned over 25 years, so we can help you.
Right.
And it matters not that I had a degree in it, you know.
Well, I look at the tradespeople in our BNI.
Yeah.
They're freaking amazing.
Yeah, they're geniuses, and they, you know, it's we don't ever talk about the money, but it's super lucrative.
Well, that too. But do you think I could figure out how to put my own roof on?
Yeah, why do we look like the society looks down on that? Like, oh, you're a plumber.
You think I can figure out my own plumbing? It's too hard. Do you think I'm gonna touch electricity in my own house?
Or work with your gas lines?
Or do you think I'm gonna do any of that? That's too they're keeping America running.
Hats off to the trades, guys. We love you.
You guys, I love you guys. They're amazing. But the people
They should be celebrated.
I
you know what else? You know what else? I was actually talking to Jay's brother last week. We were having a conversation because he's approaching retirement. And all of this whole money thing, right? Like he's done great for himself and is going to have a pension, right? Which is like epic. Like he's done super good. He's a captain in the fire department. And so I'm like, you know, we should celebrate you more. We celebrate, you know, the guy who created Facebook or whatever, or all of these things, and we attach money to it.
Right.
You know, now he makes a lot of money. But like, you know, if you're a fireman, you're like, well, maybe I'm going to have to do this when I retire. I won't be able to be fully retired. I have to do this. And, you know, you get that stigma of, well, it wasn't enough. It's like, well, no, man, you did. Are you happy?
Right.
Then you've won.
Right.
You're good. You know, like, I don't think you need, the money isn't everything.
And that's where
they attach so much weight to that.
And that's where people get into like, you're successful. I'm like, well, what is,
how do you define it?
What is success? Someone has a loving family and people who care about them. This person's making lots of money. This person's part of a wonderful community. I have a friend who is, for her 75th birthday, like 120 people showed up. That's success to me. That's the person I want to be.
I just like, I'm sitting here and my next thing I'm going to post that you'll see on Facebook at some point is none of the people I went to church with as a kid for 18 years were rich. All of them were happy. Every one of them. Like if you go back in time and think to yourself about the people that were in the pews with you, nobody was, as a matter of fact, it wasn't even a conversation about, oh, we're so miserable because we don't have enough money. Or we're not successful because we don't have enough money. We looked up to the plumbers and the roofers and the stuff like that and the barbers.
That's all we had.
My grandfather was a barber. You know, it just is what it is.
That's all we had. We didn't have college educated people.
It's morphed into this thing now of success is only the top of the money. It's just, no, that's just what's paying right now.
And college educated. And that's why I want to separate the egg white and egg yolk. Be like, college education. I mean, there's so many ways to be smart, so many ways to be successful.
I mean, my own family, my aunts, my uncles, like I always thought they were happy and successful. And some of you may have been rich. I'm sorry if you were. I wouldn't have known it. I wouldn't have known. I mean, I paid no attention to it and it was not part of the conversation. So I'm going to be posting something about that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. This is great. Thank you for putting me on the couch.
I will never be invited back again. I want part two, but is there going to be part 2 now? Yeah,
we're going to put you on the couch. We're going to talk about that self pain that you put yourself through. But see, just like me, I'm the least educated. I'll never be invited back. We're just going to make it a normal talk show.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Hey, guys, listen, if you got questions for her, I think you should reach out to her, evaluate your communication skills.
Yeah.
Or like some people could be having issues with their boss.
Yes.
And you could nudge him to the YouTube channel.
Yep.
Or maybe you're an HSP, which I just learned about today.
Yes. Or post on the YouTube channel questions for me of videos you would like to see. I would love to make videos to answer your questions.
All right. That's a great one. So thank you, everybody, for joining in. If you're watching on a replay, really appreciate you. Definitely. I know it's a It's a gift that you take your time to take a look at it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.